Ladies, let me tell you something right out the gate. When a man ignores you, he's not just being quiet. He's speaking volumes. He's showing you who he is, where his heart is, and exactly how much or how little you mean to him. And I need you to understand this. His silence is not your punishment. His silence is his confession. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Steve, it hurts. It feels like rejection. It feels like I'm not enough. I get that. I've seen too many women, too many queens break themselves down trying to figure out why a man can't give them the attention, the love, the effort they deserve. And you know what happens? You end up questioning yourself when you should be questioning him. Ladies, let me paint the picture for you. You're in a relationship, you're giving your best, you're loving hard, and all of a sudden he pulls back. He stops calling. He stops checking in. He stops noticing the little things. And you sit there thinking, what did I do wrong? But the truth is, you didn't do anything wrong. You showed up. You gave. You invested. If he couldn't see that, that's not a reflection of your value. That's a reflection of his blindness. See, here's what I know: a man who ignores you is really telling you what he thinks you'll tolerate. He's testing your silence. He's testing your patience. He's seeing if you'll chase, if you'll beg, if you'll shrink yourself just to keep him comfortable. But you're not built for that. You're built to rise. You're built to glow. You're built to set the standard. So tonight, I'm about to break it down for you. We're going to talk about what really happens when a man ignores you, why your silence is more powerful than your words, and how healing, growth, and walking away become the ultimate moves in your playbook. Because once you see the truth, you'll never let neglect feel like love again. Silence is a message, ladies. Let me make this plain. Silence is not empty. Silence is not neutral. Silence is not confusion. Silence is a message. And sometimes silence is the loudest message you will ever hear from a man. When a man ignores you, when he withdraws, when he refuses to give you his attention, he is speaking volumes without ever opening his mouth. You don't need a translator. You don't need a detective kit. You don't need to chase him down begging for answers. Because the truth is sitting right there in his silence. See, women are naturally built to connect, to nurture, to talk it through. That's why when a man goes quiet, it rattles your soul. You start replaying the last conversation, searching your phone for clues, questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Did I say too much? Should I have pulled back? You twist yourself into knots trying to make sense of what he refuses to say. But here's the power move. Stop translating silence into self-blame. Start translating silence into truth. Because silence always reveals where a man's heart really is. If a man wanted to be there, he would. If he wanted to talk to you, you wouldn't be waiting. If he wanted to claim you, there would be no confusion. Silence is not about you not being enough. It's about him showing you his lack of effort. A man's silence is his confession, his unwillingness to step up, his inability to give you what you deserve. And ladies, hear me when I say this: his silence does not devalue you. It exposes him. Think of it like this: when a phone stops ringing, it doesn't mean the network failed. It means the caller stopped dialing. When a plant stops blooming, it doesn't mean the soil wasn't rich. Sometimes it means the seed wasn't meant for that ground. When a man stops speaking, stops showing up, stops investing, it's not because you weren't worthy. It's because he chose not to. That silence is the evidence you need. But here's where the shift happens. Too many of you take his silence and turn it into a project. You start chasing noise in the quiet. You blow up his phone, you write paragraphs, you show up with explanations. You try to fill the void with your energy. But let me tell you something: silence is not yours to fix. Silence is yours to respect. Because when you respect silence, you respect yourself. A man who truly values you doesn't let silence sit between you like a wall. He doesn't let you guess, wonder, or doubt. He knows communication is connection, and he won't risk losing you by keeping you in the dark. So when a man goes silent, you better believe it's intentional. It's either a lack of care, a lack of courage, or a lack of commitment. But whichever it is, it's still a message. And I want you to remember this silence is clarity. It's not confusion, it's not mystery, it's not a puzzle. It's an answer. His silence is telling you what his words never would. That you don't matter enough to him to speak. That you don't rank high enough for his effort. That his comfort means more than your peace of mind. That's not love, baby. That's avoidance. And avoidance is not affection. You deserve a man who chooses words, not excuses. You deserve a man who chooses communication, not confusion. You deserve a man who won't let the silence stretch long enough for you to wonder where you stand. And if he can't give you that, then his silence just saved you years of wasted time. So the next time a man ignores you, stop making excuses for him. Stop trying to explain it away. Don't confuse silence with mystery. Don't confuse silence with strength. Silence is a message. And the message is this: he's already shown you everything you need to know. Believe it the first time. Because ladies, the truth is, silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. And the day you stop running from those answers, that's the day you take your power back. Attention is currency, ladies. Let me tell you something that'll shift the way you see men forever. Attention is currency. A man's attention is not just glances, texts, or little conversations. It's his investment. It's how he shows where his priorities lie, where his energy flows, and where his heart truly sits. If a man is giving you his time, his focus, his presence, that's him spending his currency on you. But when he ignores you, when he withholds that attention, that's him telling you straight up, you're not the priority he's willing to invest in. And I need you to stop pretending you don't see it. See, attention is powerful. It's like oxygen in relationships. When you're getting it consistently, you feel alive, valued, seen, and secure. But when it's cut off, you start gasping, wondering what went wrong, questioning your worth, and chasing after scraps just to feel noticed. That's the dangerous trap. Because once you start chasing a man's attention, you've already handed him all your power. You're letting him decide when you breathe and when you suffocate. And baby girl, no man should have that much power over your peace. Attention reveals the truth. If a man is all over his phone, but never replying to your messages, that's not an accident. If he can laugh with his boys for hours, but goes quiet with you, that's not confusion. It's clarity. He knows exactly what he's doing with his currency, and it's not you he's spending it on. That doesn't mean you're not worthy. That means he's cheap with you and generous with others. And I want you to hear me when I say this. If a man is stingy with his attention, he will be stingy with his love, stingy with his effort, and stingy with his respect. That's not the man you want to build with. I'll give you an example. Think about a man who loves his car. He'll wash it, polish it, talk about it, post it, brag about it, because that's where his attention is flowing. That car isn't just metal and wheels, it's his pride, his joy, his reflection. Now, think about a man who loves a woman. He'll call her, check on her, protect her, invest in her, show her off, not because he has to, but because his heart is invested. Attention always flows where value is placed. If his attention isn't on you, then where is it? And do you really want to beg for it when you already know the answer? The problem is, too many women think they can earn attention by overgiving. You cook, you clean, you stay available, you answer every text in 3 seconds. You bend over backward hoping he'll notice you. But let me break it to you. The more you do, the more he pulls back. Because in his mind, he doesn't have to spend his currency on you. You're already doing all the work. Ladies, stop overcompensating for what he refuses to give. A real man's attention doesn't need to be begged for. It flows naturally when he values you. Now, let me flip this on you. Your attention is currency too. And you've been giving it away too cheap. You've been pouring your time, your energy, your emotions into men who can't even bother to text back. You've been investing your whole soul into men who drop breadcrumbs. And here's the truth. When your attention is expensive, men step up. When your attention is rare, men chase it. When you stop being available to nonsense, you force a man to decide if he's willing to invest or let you go. Either way, you win, because you're no longer wasting your wealth on somebody bankrupt in effort. A man ignoring you is already telling you how much he's willing to spend on you, nothing. And that is everything you need to know. You don't argue with it. You don't negotiate with it. You don't try to flip coupons for his cheap behavior. You walk away knowing your attention is gold, and any man who can't afford it doesn't deserve it. Ladies, attention is currency. Never forget that. And the man who ignores you has already shown you his balance. Don't lower your price. Don't beg for change. Stand tall, because your attention is worth more than his silence will ever be. Your response is your power. Ladies, I want you to understand something that will completely flip the way you handle men who ignore you. Your response is your power. Not what he says, not what he does, not how many times he ghosts you or leaves you waiting. None of that determines your value. What determines your strength, your peace, your dignity is how you respond. Because the truth is, you cannot control a man's actions, but you can absolutely control your reaction. And that, my sisters, is where your real power lies. See, when a man ignores you, the first temptation is to chase, to send that extra text, to ask, did I do something wrong? To prove yourself worthy of his attention. You feel this burning inside. If I just explain, if I just try harder, if I just show him how much I care, maybe he'll come around. But let me ask you, how many times has chasing ever brought you peace? How many times has begging for his attention made you feel proud of yourself? Never. Because every time you chase, you hand over your crown. You take your power, your worth, your dignity, and you place it right in his hands. But when you choose not to respond, or better yet, when you respond with grace and self-control, you flip the script. You remind him and yourself that you're not a puppet dancing for his attention. You're a woman who knows her value, whether he shows up or not. Your silence, your calm, your refusal to play the game, that's your power move. That's you saying, you don't get to dictate my worth. You don't get to play with my emotions. I control me. Think about it like this. Life is like a chessboard. A man makes his move by ignoring you. That's his play. But the game isn't over, because your move is what decides the outcome. If you chase, you just handed him a checkmate. But if you pause, breathe, and hold your ground, suddenly the game shifts. Suddenly, he's the one scrambling, wondering why his silence didn't rattle you, why his ignoring didn't break you. Your response determines who really holds the power. And let's be clear, your response doesn't always mean silence. Sometimes your power is in walking away. Sometimes your power is in setting a boundary. Sometimes your power is in saying, this is not enough for me, and I won't sit here starving for crumbs when I deserve the whole meal. Your power is choice. You can choose to cry over his silence, or you can choose to rise above it. You can choose to keep replaying the same cycle, or you can choose to step off the ride and reclaim your peace. I remember talking to a woman who said, Steve, every time he ignores me, I feel like I'm losing a piece of myself. And I told her, no, baby, you're not losing a piece, you're giving it away. Every time you respond by begging, by chasing, by lowering your standard, you hand him another piece of you. But the moment you stop responding like that, the moment you choose dignity over desperation, you stop giving pieces away, you hold yourself together. And that right there is your power. You see, men expect a reaction. They expect the calls, the tears, the where are you? They expect you to spiral. And when you rise above it, when you stay calm and in control, you shake them to their core. Because now, instead of you questioning yourself, he's questioning himself. Instead of you chasing, he's wondering why you didn't. That's what happens when you respond with power. Your response is the difference between being played and being respected. It's the difference between losing yourself and finding yourself. It's the difference between letting his silence destroy you and letting it reveal his true colors while you stay whole. Ladies, remember this: a man ignoring you is not the end of your story. It's just a page. The pen is still in your hand. You decide how you respond. And when you choose strength, self-respect, and silence over desperation, that's when you remind him. And more importantly, remind yourself that you were powerful all along. Your response is your crown. Wear it like the queen you are. Healing is the real comeback, ladies. Let me break this down for you: the real glow up, the real revenge, the real comeback. It ain't a new man. It ain't a sexier dress. It ain't posting selfies to make him jealous. The real comeback is healing. Healing is the moment you take all that pain, all that confusion, all that heartbreak, and instead of letting it poison you, you let it strengthen you. Healing is the quiet transformation that takes place when you stop waiting for him to change and start working on you. That's the part men never expect. They expect you to stay broable, to stay available, to stay hooked on their silence. But when you choose healing, that's when the whole game shifts. See, pain is heavy, carrying the weight of unanswered texts, mixed signals, broken promises. It drags you down. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you settle for less. But healing is like putting that weight down. It's standing up straighter, breathing deeper, looking in the mirror and saying, I am still here. I am still worthy. I am still powerful. Healing is reclaiming the parts of yourself that pain tried to steal. And here's what men don't realize. Healing makes you untouchable. Because once you've healed, you don't chase anymore. You don't beg anymore. You don't tolerate half love or half effort anymore. You're no longer controlled by what he does or doesn't do. Healing builds boundaries around your soul. Healing makes you selective. Healing makes you dangerous, because now your happiness no longer depends on him. It depends on you. Think about a wound. When it's fresh, it hurts to touch. It's sensitive, and any little thing can reopen it. That's how heartbreak feels in the beginning. Every little silence, every memory, every thought reopens the pain. But when you take care of a wound, when you clean it, protect it, and give it time, it doesn't just close, it gets stronger. That scar becomes proof that you survived. And the next time life tries to cut you in the same spot, you're tougher, you're wiser, you're harder to break. That's what healing does for your soul. And here's the powerful part. When a man who ignored you sees you healed, it messes with him because he expected you to be stuck. He expected you to stay checking your phone, waiting on his call. He expected you to keep replaying the pain. But healing steals his control. Healing flips the script. Now you're not waiting, you're not wondering, you're not weeping, you're walking in peace. And nothing confuses a man more than a woman who found peace without him. I've seen women go through this transformation. At first, they're shattered, crying, questioning, doubting. But then something clicks. They start journaling, they start praying, they start going to therapy, they start working out, reading books, finding themselves again. They stop asking, why doesn't he want me? And start asking, why was I settling for someone who didn't? And by the time they heal, their energy is different. They walk into a room and glow, not because of a man, but because they built themselves back up. That glow, that healed energy is magnetic. Ladies, you want to know what real revenge is. It's not proving to him you moved on. It's proving to yourself that you don't need his validation. Healing is the kind of comeback that doesn't even require an announcement. People will see it. He will feel it. And you will know it deep down because your peace will be louder than his silence ever was. Men miss healed women in a way they can't explain. They miss the control they once had. They miss the access. They miss the version of you that tolerated their nonsense. But they don't get her back because she's gone. She healed, and she's never returning to who she was when she allowed herself to be ignored. So understand this. Healing isn't just recovery. It's transformation. Healing is not about getting back to who you were before him. It's about becoming someone so much stronger, wiser, and more confident that you'd never even recognize the woman who once waited by the phone. Healing is your crown, your shield, your weapon. Healing is the real comeback. Growth exposes his lost. Ladies, listen to me carefully. When a man ignores you, when he chooses silence over effort, when he thinks you'll always be waiting, the greatest shock you can ever give him is not a text, not a tear, not a fight. It's your growth. Because nothing hits a man harder than realizing the woman he took for granted has leveled up without him. Growth is like a mirror, and when he sees you shining, he has to face the reflection of everything he lost. See, men expect you to crumble when they pull away. They expect you to sit by the phone, wondering, replaying, overthinking. They expect you to stay the same woman who once tolerated the bare minimum. But growth destroys those expectations. Growth is you deciding that his silence is not the end of your story. It's the spark that sets off your next chapter. Growth is when you take that pain and turn it into fuel. You hit the gym, you build your career, you fix your finances, you heal your spirit, you reinvent your life. And suddenly, you're not the woman who was crying over his texts anymore. You're the woman he can't even reach. Growth is loud without making a sound. It shows up when you walk into a room glowing with confidence. It shows up when you laugh again without forcing it. It shows up when you stop checking his social media and start focusing on your goals. It shows up when you look in the mirror and see a woman who refused to stay stuck. Growth is undeniable. It speaks for you. And when he sees it, he realizes something he never wanted to admit he lost. Let me tell you something about men. They know when they've mishandled a good woman. They may not say it out loud. They may not confess it, but deep down they know. And your growth puts that truth in front of them like a billboard they can't ignore. He sees you happy without him, and suddenly, the silence that once gave him power turns into a reminder of his biggest mistake. He sees you thriving, and it eats at him because now he realizes what his ignorance cost him. Growth doesn't just expose his loss, it protects your future. Because when you grow, you raise your standards. You don't settle for the same patterns. You don't repeat the same mistakes. The version of you that's growing is no longer attracted to men who ignore, dismiss, or undervalue. Growth rewires your spirit. It trains your heart to crave peace, respect, consistency, and love that doesn't need to be begged for. And once you get a taste of that, you'll never go back to the crumbs you once accepted. Think about it. Flowers don't chase the bees. They bloom, they grow, they stand tall, and the bees come. That's how growth works. You don't chase attention, you attract respect. You don't beg for love, you radiate so much self-worth that only the right man dares to step up. And the wrong ones, they look from a distance, regretting they ever let you go. Ladies, I've seen this happen time and time again. A woman thinks she won't survive the heartbreak, but she chooses growth. She pours into herself. She learns new skills. She travels. She creates. She builds. Months later, she's glowing in ways she never imagined. And that man, the one who ignored her, who thought she'd always be waiting, he comes back knocking, acting like he suddenly realized her value. But by then, she's grown past needing him. She's grown past even wanting him. And that's when the power shifts forever. Growth is not about revenge. It's about elevation. It's not about making him miss you. It's about making sure you never miss yourself again. But the side effect, oh, it's powerful. Because growth will make him sit alone with his silence, realizing it didn't break you, it built you. Growth will make him scroll through your pictures, not because you're flaunting, but because your happiness is undeniable. Growth will make him regret, and regret is the weight men carry when they lose a woman who refused to stay small. So remember this, his silence may hurt, but your growth will heal. His ignorance may sting, but your elevation will shine brighter. And when you grow, you don't just move on, you expose his greatest loss. Because the truth is, he didn't just lose your presence. He lost the future version of you, the one who's stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. And that, ladies, is a loss he can never recover from. Walking away is the final word, ladies. Let's get one thing straight. There is no speech louder, no sentence stronger, no statement clearer than you walking away. You don't need to scream. You don't need to beg. You don't need to write long essays explaining your worth. Walking away is the final word, the period at the end of a chapter, the move that says more than any text, any conversation, any confrontation ever could. When you walk away, you're not just leaving him, you're declaring to the world and to yourself that you will not settle for silence, neglect, or half-hearted love. See, a man can ignore your calls, dismiss your tears, or act blind to your efforts, but he cannot ignore your absence. He can pretend he doesn't hear your pain, but he will feel your silence when you're no longer there to give. Walking away forces him to sit in the emptiness he created. It strips away his excuses. It leaves him face to face with the reality that the woman who once poured into him is gone. And let me tell you something. Men don't really process what they had until it's gone. Walking away is the mirror he can't escape. But here's the real power. Walking away isn't about punishing him. It's about protecting you. It's not about proving a point. It's about reclaiming your peace. Walking away is self-respect in motion. It's you choosing yourself over confusion. It's you saying, I'd rather be alone in peace than together in pain. And ladies, that's strength, because staying is easy. Staying gives you the illusion of control. But walking away, that takes courage, that takes faith, that takes knowing deep in your soul that you are worth more than being an option. I've seen women stay for years, waiting for change, holding on to promises, thinking one day he'll realize her value. But the truth is, the realization doesn't come when you wait. It comes when you leave, when you stop answering, when you stop showing up, when you stop making excuses. That's when the reality of your worth hits him like a storm, because absence has a way of waking people up. Walking away turns your pain into a lesson he can't ignore. Think about it like this. A song doesn't hit you until the music stops. You don't appreciate electricity until the lights go out. You don't realize the warmth of the sun until it sets. That's exactly how your presence works. When you're always there, always forgiving, always available, he gets comfortable. He takes it for granted. But the moment you walk away, he feels the cold. He feels the silence. He feels the weight of losing the one thing he thought he'd always have. Walking away is the thunderclap that shakes his world. And here's the beautiful part. Walking away doesn't just affect him. It transforms you. Because the moment you step out of what no longer serves you, you step into your power. You stop begging and start building. You stop shrinking and start shining. You stop waiting for someone else to choose you and start choosing yourself. Walking away isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your comeback. Ladies, understand this. Love is not proven by how much you can endure. Love is proven by how much peace it brings you. If a man's silence, his neglect, or his disregard is costing you your peace, then walking away is not just an option. It's the solution. And when you do it, when you take that final step, you don't just leave him wondering. You leave yourself free. Free to heal. Free to grow. Free to attract the kind of love that doesn't require you to lose yourself to keep it. So the next time a man ignores you, don't fight for explanations that never come. Don't cry for answers that won't change the truth. Don't try to resurrect what's already dead. Walk away. Because walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's not defeat, it's dignity. And it's not an ending. It's the final word that sets you up for a brand new beginning. Walking away is the punctuation mark on the sentence of your worth. It's not a question mark, not an ellipsis, not a comma. It's the period that closes one chapter so you can open another. And that, ladies, is the most powerful word you'll ever speak without saying a single thing. Walking away is the final word. Closing message, the power of your worth, ladies. Let me leave you with this truth, one that I pray sinks so deep into your spirit that you never forget it. When a man ignores you, when he acts like you don't matter, when he tries to make you feel invisible, that is not your downfall. That is his revelation. He's showing you his character. He's showing you what kind of man he really is. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to say a word back. Your silence, your growth, your healing, and ultimately your decision to walk away. That's your final word. Don't ever let a man's neglect become your prison. Don't let his ignorance make you forget your brilliance. You are not begging for crumbs when you were built to sit at a feast. You are not chasing someone who can't even recognize the gift standing right in front of him. You are the blessing. You are the prize. And the day you start treating yourself like the prize is the day the whole game changes. I want you to remember this. Your absence will teach him more than your presence ever did. Your silence will echo louder than any argument. Your healing will shine brighter than any revenge. And your growth will leave him questioning himself in ways you could never imagine. Walking away is not weakness. It is strength. It is self-respect. It is a declaration to the world that you will never again lower yourself for love. So, ladies, lift your head up high. Straighten your crown. Walk with that unshakable confidence that says, I know who I am, and I know what I deserve. Because the truth is, when a man ignores you, he's telling you everything you need to know. The question is, will you listen? Will you believe it? And will you act like the queen you are? This is your time. This is your power. This is your life. Don't waste another second giving discounts on your worth. From this day forward, promise yourself no more chasing, no more begging, no more settling. When a man ignores you, let him. And you rise, you shine, you walk away with dignity, because that is the final word.